Hey guys, it's WACK, and I'm bringing another Overwatch video for you guys, and it seems like you guys have been loving these videos, and I've been loving making them because I've just been so in love with Overwatch. Obviously, I'm still going to be making my Call of Duty videos, but for right now, I also just want to do some Overwatch videos and just talk about it because it's just a brand new game, and I feel so refreshed to make some content. But for right now, I want to talk about new competitive game modes possibly being in Overwatch, and I know I just praised Overwatch and just said how it's an awesome game, but I feel like it could just be even better, because for right now, in Overwatch competitive, it's pretty lackluster, it's pretty stale. We only have 3 different game modes, and it's a pretty standard meta where you have 2 or 3 tanks, have an Ana, and maybe have a Soldier or a McCree, maybe a Genji, but you don't see a lot of variety when playing Overwatch competitive, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing because it's always consistent. If you always keep it consistent, then the better players are going to win, but if you keep it stale, people are going to lose interest in competitive Overwatch. And I'm not trying to knock Overwatch and say, oh my god, it's only competitive, you should always play competitive, because no, I used to play casual, and I still do play casual, and it's just that I think that's why it's such a successful game, is because a lot of people don't even have to play Overwatch, but they can be so in love with the characters and everything like that they even support the game. But some people can take it very, very serious and get so competitive and treat it like it's gonna make them millions of dollars. And that is the best thing about Overwatch, is that it pertains to a lot of different people. Something like CSGO, you can't really cosplay CSGO players unless you're going to cosplay a Soldier. It's more like a competitive game, but I feel like just because Counter-Strike has this big, strong competitive scene, it's really been stable for the last couple of years, that it's even been growing. The CSGO came out in like, what, 2012, and the competitive scene is still growing to this day. Now, obviously, they didn't add a lot of game modes, but they really supported their competitive scene, and I feel like if Overwatch has this big competitive scene that a lot of people can't follow, then people will be playing this game for years on end. But for right now, like I said, there's only 3 different game modes, which is the payload map, where you just move the payload throughout the map, like on Route 66. Then there is capture the flag, or not capture the flag, King of the Hill, where it's something like Eluse, where you just go on a point and just try to contest it for till 100%. And then for the third one, there is a mixture between the two, where you capture the point and then you move the payload, like on King's Row. That's all cool, but the thing is, the 3 tank meta, or the double tank meta, or even sometimes the quad tank meta, just succeeds so well on those game modes, because it's a pretty standard, like, alright, Reinhardt just sits right in front of the payload, or sits on the payload rather, and then just moves forward. And then Reinhardt on King of the Hill, he just sits right in front where the enemy's gonna spawn, and just puts up his shield, and boom, right there. Or something like on Eichenwald, I know I butchered that so much, but he just holds his shield right in front of the choke, and boom. So the tanks just succeed so well because of the game modes, and some people want to stray away from the 3 or 4 tank meta, and I know some people that really do just want to keep it like that, but I feel like if you have this wide variety of different game modes and people to watch, I mean, something like Call of Duty, right? I played a lot of Call of Duty. I know when people hate Call of Duty whenever I bring it up, but Call of Duty has a pretty striving competitive scene. It just started growing like a couple years ago, but there's so many different game modes that one gun doesn't do that well on, say, a different game mode. So something like Search and Destroy is going to be played so different than something like Capture the Flag, because in Search and Destroy, you're going to be more tactical, be more reserved, just be more in the back lines, not really just running around like 360ing all over the place. But something like Capture the Flag, people are going to be rushing, people are going to be flying all over the place, people are going to be all over the map, and it's just a different feel. With Overwatch, with the payload map and King of the Hill map, they're going to play kind of the same with the same different characters. But what if you were to add different game modes? Now, obviously, we've had a bunch of different content added. I know we had a lot of different game modes added, like the 3v3, the 1v1, the Maze Snowball Offensive, which these are all great game modes. So, like, I love Maze Snowball Offensive. A lot of people hated that game mode. I don't know why. It got pretty intense sometimes. I know that sounds so lame, but it really did. But we've seen Overwatch take inspiration from other game modes, like Maze Snowball Offensive. It's just like one in the chamber from Black Ops 1, from Black Ops 2, pretty much the whole party scene from the Black Ops series. So I don't see why Overwatch can't take inspiration from other games that we've seen. I mean, King of the Hill is like King of the Hill from Halo. It's just pretty much, you have one point, you contain it for however long you can, and then boom, you're done with the game. So I don't see why Overwatch can't take inspiration from other game modes, such as something like a Domination. This is one of the first things I suggest that Overwatch can do. So I don't know if you guys know how Domination works. I'm guessing if you do, if you ever watch one single Call of Duty game, but pretty much you have 3 flags. It could be pretty much in a circle map, or it can be in the line map. I don't know how to pretty much describe it, but pretty much you just have 3 flags throughout the whole entire map, and whoever contests the most flags for the most time wins the game. So if you have 3 flags, pretty much one team just has to contest 2 flags, and one team has to contest 1. The reason why this would be perfect is because people like Tracer or Genji or even Soldier 76 would be viable on this, but someone like Reinhardt or someone like Roadhog, they're not going to be all over the map. They're not going to be running to contest those flags, so people are going to stray away from those tanks and then go more for a more offensive meta. And this would just be a different game mode. You would still have King of the Hill, you would still have the payload maps, but just change up the different game mode. I feel like nerfing the characters to change the 3-tank meta isn't really the best option, but rather having different game modes in the map so that people won't pick those tanks. Still make the tanks really, really good. Reinhardt is forever going to be one of the best tanks. D.Va is going to be a great offensive tank, but they're not going to do that great on a map like Domination. Reinhardt's not going to be that great to go and capture the flag. Actually, he still would be viable, but someone like Tracer, who's going to be running all over the map, who's going to be capturing those flags, I feel like would just do a better job than Reinhardt. Obviously, Reinhardt would still do great, but it's just like on the payload map. Reinhardt is still going to be, Tracer is still going to be great, but Reinhardt is going to be a much better pick because it's just a more viable option. Same thing with this domination idea. Tracer is going to be a more viable option than Reinhardt. Obviously, Reinhardt's still going to be great, but Tracer would just be a much better option. Or even something like Capture the Flag. Capture the Flag isn't even just an exclusive video game mode. It's just a real life game mode. Like, we've all played Capture the Flag. It can get intense in real life, but even in the video game world, because you just see someone get the flag, you have to run back, and then the team has to come and back them up and try to defend. This would be another perfect game mode that we've seen throughout just not even Call of Duty history, in video game history, in Halo, in Call of Duty, I'm sure in other esports that I'm forgetting to name. This is just a great game mode. It just makes it more intense because you have to be smart, you have to be tactical, you have to be smart with your picks, with your heroes. Obviously, the tanks would still be great in this sense, but something like I said before, Tracer or Genji, when they have to go get the flag, they have to run back, they have to be more smart, they have to be more tactical, but then their team has to back them up. Will a tank be viable for capture the flag? Maybe, but remember, you have to still back up the player that is going after that flag on the enemy lines. And maybe someone even like Mei. Mei would be an awesome pick for this because say a Genji's on your team and you go and capture the flag and then he's running back. Well, Mei just has to wall off the main entrance in the main choke, and then boom, Genji is home free and then gets to cap the flag. I mean, we've all seen capture the flag happen in competitive esports. Hopefully you guys have, and it gets pretty intense sometimes, especially in like Halo, especially in Call of Duty. Even when you're playing it yourself, it gets really, really intense because you're running from people that want to kill you real quick, but you have the main prize. You have that little flag in your hand, but you gotta run. You don't have time to think, would you be able to shoot your gun when you're carrying the flag? I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would. But this is Blizzard's job for this idea if they were to implement this idea. Even something like Hardpoint, and I hate bringing Call of Duty game modes, but even Capture the Flag isn't just in a Call of Duty exclusive game mode, but something like Hardpoint. So if you guys don't know how Hardpoint works, it's kind of like King of the Hill, but the point constantly moves throughout the whole entire map. So say a game were to last for like 5 minutes. The main points would change every 30 seconds throughout the whole entire map. This would make it so like tanks wouldn't be that viable. They still would be viable, but faster characters would be much more better. Something like Soldier 76 would be awesome because they can run, they can take out people that are on the point, and boom, take them out, and then the rest of the team would come and follow suit. So it's just an idea, something simple like that. Like I said, Overwatch has taken inspiration from other games in terms of game modes. The only thing that I've never seen before is the payload maps, like Route 66. I've never really seen that type of game mode before in any other video game, not in Call of Duty, not in Halo, not in Gears of War, not in Battlefield, not anything like that. But I have seen Mei's Snowball Offensive. That's pretty much just one in the chamber from the Call of Duty series. So why not take other competitive game modes that we've seen that have been successful and then implement them into Overwatch? Now, obviously, I thought about this and I thought of Search and Destroy. I don't really think that would work or it really fit the feel of Overwatch. Overwatch is a more fast-paced, not really tactical, think about what you're doing. Now, obviously, if you're playing Capture the Flag, you still gotta think about what you're doing, but it's still more run-and-gun, fast-paced gameplay. Something like Search and Destroy really wouldn't fit that playstyle all too perfectly. I don't know. I would like to know what you guys think Overwatch should do as terms of more competitive game modes, because we've got lots and lots of content for free from Blizzard, and they've supported this game to the fullest extent. But as terms of the competitive scene, it can even grow and grow and grow, and a lot of people would follow that scene more, and a lot of people would still be into competitive, and just in Overwatch in general, not even a competitive Overwatch. So I would like to know. Let me know what you think. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.